Our opinions aren't too tough, rough, or gruff. We are proof that you don't have to be an expert to have an opinion. So just
Shut up and sit down.
This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff.
What's up?
You walked on your own intro.
I did. Plus, Alex, that's me. I'm Alex, the medical degenerate. I'll take the reins and introduce myself first this time.
There you go. I'm Jim, the Ohio Homer.
I'm Muff, the original degenerate. Welcome to Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. Today is Monday, July 25th. We are the gurus of nothing, but we're going to talk about all sorts of stuff today.
It was a busy week where things happened, but I don't know that enough grabbed your attention because it was just shell shock. A lot happened, but not enough to hold you. It was a weird week in sports.
I mean, it's baseball season. We're in the heart of baseball, which is right before football, which is the worst time of the year. But football is coming, and in baseball, the home run derby was last week.
It was.
Can we go back for a second? I know we had the home run derby. We'll talk about that in a second. You brought up a point of the worst time of year.
Yes.
Can we say that after the week after the home run derby and the All-Star game, that 1 week is the worst week of the year?
Well,
is that official?
That'd be right now.
That's what I mean. The week we're entering, is this the worst week?
I think so.
I think you're right. I think this is an official. We should put a name to this.
The denouement.
Because this is the Bermuda Triangle of sports. This is where things go to just disappear and die.
Worst weekend in sports?
Yeah.
Maybe a triangle of sports. I mean, all are, I think, suitable names. Because training camps start in 2 weeks.
Yeah. But this is where everything starts picking up now. People report, people don't report, people get injured. Think this is where fitness is about to pick up.
Or is it the week before the All-Star game?
No, because we got the hype for the All-Star game, but this is where everything's just dead.
Was it hype? Because I didn't watch it.
I didn't even know it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, there's talk, and there's deadlines and things. But even NASCAR this weekend was at Pocono. That's just a road course. So it is shit.
It's a turd sandwich.
Yeah. Let's talk about the home run derby. We'll weigh out this week and what the name of it should be.
No, we're not talking about the home run derby. I'm just calling attention to that it happened. And the only thing that really caught my attention was that the Blue Jays scored 28 runs against the Red Sox coming out of the All-Star break.
See?
Big Papi got inducted into the Hall of Fame today.
Oh, you see? Didn't even realize that was going on.
I think he was the first, let me fact check myself, but I think he's the first true DH to go in on a first ballot.
That makes sense.
First designated hitter selected on first ballot.
Cool.
We had a contract extension in the NFL that has the potential to set the market for some future quarterback offers moving forward. And possibly win or lose lots of bets in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
A legend in sports entertainment has decided to step down. Jim, I would like your first thoughts on Vincent McMahon stepping down.
What a loaded gun. He just steps down. You got to figure the hammer was going to fall on him. There's a lot to unravel in this. I would love to have long, in-depth conversation with a lot of people. This is not that podcast, but I hope one day that they do a full study on that event and how it all went down, because you're talking about a corporation who he just said, all right, I'm out before, and I'm sure that's happened a lot, before he went and got in trouble. But then there's two CEOs now. One's his daughter. One's, Nick Khan. His son-in-law is the head of, there's so much nepotism and so much moving parts that I hope somebody does a study on it. And I would love to read the book on the day that Vince left. It's very interesting. Whether you're a wrestling fan or not, it's very interesting.
I think of this as like a coronation. Like, that's how I think of this in my mind. Like, there was behind some door, there was this huge crown that was laid on somebody's head. Whether or not that's somebody we know yet in the whole game, or if it's somebody really behind the scenes, somebody has been coronated.
And again, I don't want to make the sports podcast a wrestling podcast, but essentially there was some 3 months ago, there was a lot of backdoor biting, trying to besmirch Stephanie's name, his daughter's name, as CEO. And she had stepped down and said, I'm going to go home and rest for a little bit, guys. And they're like, wait, we need you as CEO. And I'm now the co-CEO and Vince is gone. It's a very weird thing. And I really hope there's a case study on it because it's going to be fascinating.
Is Triple H still running NXT, or does he have an elevated platform now?
I think he's going to be, I don't think he has time to, he'll be drinking from a fire hose. Yeah.
Fair enough. Alex, any thoughts on the wrestling entertainment news of?
No, I wanted to, when I first saw it, I wanted to text Jim, but I felt like this was more of an in-person reaction.
My last thought on this is the guy from AEW, Tony Khan. He put a tweet out thanking his fans for making him now the longest reigning wrestling executive.
When did Vince McMahon come back to life? Didn't he get blown up at one point?
He was about to get blown up, but then the Chris Benoit thing happened. And they had to scrub that storyline. He was the night he was going to get blown up and die.
Chris Benoit thing.
Was the night Chris Benoit did that dastardly, horrible thing to his family.
Well, I remember as a small child when that Sega was happening that I really thought Vince McMahon got blown up. Like, I was like, Dad. He's like, Alex, it's just part of the storyline. It's really okay. I'm like, Dad. I also remember the exact time that my dad told me wrestling was not all the way right.
Shh. Don't say it.
I know, but I was.
It's the true 4-letter F word that we can't say, right?
Yeah,
I want to make people mad. We don't need that heat, brother.
I said not all the way.
Brother.
That doesn't matter. Don't say the R word.
R?
F.
Not all the way.
It's all shoot, Jim. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Anything else? Do we want to talk about anything else? I mean, we went on a good tangent there. I like it.
Yeah. You saw a motivational speaker. What's this?
So last week I was at a conference at Duquesne University where it was a Title IX conference, but not Title IX sports related. Title IX,
College related.
College and conduct and misconduct related. But during lunch, we had a speaker during the lunchtime. So we're all sitting there, and Dr. Karen Hall, she is a commentator for ESPN3, does the women's basketball, and is a former player UNLV. And as she kind of put it, is a product of Title IX, right? That's how she got to be able to go play basketball in college and, obviously have some money to do so. She came out with a lot of very strong messages. A couple resonated with me that I wanted to share with you, Jim. She said that as Kobe was, all dudes need to be proud of the girl dad status.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
She's all about that. She said, keep questioning and pushing for the young women to have access to the same opportunities, no matter what. She was very, very much an advocate. She also is an athletic administrator for a high school in the Pittsburgh area. So she's always pushing that as well. And most interesting, there was an open Q&A, and somebody went up right before I was about to and asked her thoughts on NIL.
Oh, okay.
She was very, very much in favor of NIL because anybody can have access to the money. right? It's not necessarily about skill, it's about influence. And we've talked about this many weeks ago, where some of the most influential social media players in the game are actually young women.
That's true.
So that's a space where women can potentially surpass men in the NIL situation. So this is a very interesting conversation. She was, again, it was during lunch and she knew it was during lunch. So she made everybody pay attention to her. So her messages are very succinct, clear, and powerful. So
good deal.
Golf clap for Dr. Karen Hall.
Cool.
As always, be sure to follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, sportsstuffw/Jim, & Muff on Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review. Hit the bell. Download, listen.
Do the things.
Like,
retweet, poke it,
double tap.
Poke it.
That's
new.
That wasn't
Facebook.
Yeah, that was an old Facebook thing. You could poke.
Oh, okay. All right.
Poke us.
Poke us, please.
I don't know if you can poke us. Today is Monday, July 25th, and the Pittsburgh Pirates are
40-56
as they come out of the All-Star break, and they traded one of the crowd favorites of this year's team, Daniel Vogelbach. Alex, I want your real take.
I literally just looked at this and rolled my eyes. I get it. I mean, he's not like, the end all be all of the team. He's good. And we got some young, maybe whatever talent. But I hear this story every year. We have this guy that generates morale. Like, people like him. They like to watch him. So let's get rid of him for someone who might be good.
Yeah, so I was actually watching the game on Friday or Saturday. I think it was Friday. And the new GM, Charrington, was on there, and he was on the telecast, and they were asking questions. It was like sort of breaking-ish news. Like, everybody knew that Vogelbach was gone, but he was on there and was like, yes, I can confirm we've traded him. We got a young talent, a young arm talent who, we're hoping can make some impact later in this season, and is hoping to be like a stalwart and I think a bullpen. He's a bullpen guy. But yeah, Vogelbach was aside from like Key Brian Hayes, who's the shortstop?
All right,
who's the new shortstop right now, Alex? The guy,
Mitchell
Ortiz. See, I don't even know all these guys.
Nobody cares.
I knew Vogelbach.
We knew Vogelbach.
Pittsburgh did Pittsburgh things. Let's get to the show.
Wait, we talked about WWE longer than we talked about baseball.
Yeah,
so
calm down.
The audience is a lot bigger. I'll tell you that much.
Which leads us into
the off season.
That was a good one. That made some reverb on the mic. I don't know if that's the actual word for it, but it did something with the microphone there.
Felt good about it.
We're hitting a new level.
I feel like
good about it.
I feel like it was a step down in you're about the shit factor, but a step up in audio quality.
Thank you. I brought from the heart, you know what I mean? And not the bum.
It's good. Keep your colon clean.
Thank you.
So Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals have agreed to a 5-year extension worth $230.5 million.
How much is guaranteed?
$160 million guaranteed for injury. I don't know what that means. I didn't do enough research. And he gets 105 fully guaranteed upon signing the deal. So there's 55 million additionals floating somewhere for if he gets hurt, I guess.
I was going to say, I wonder if that means as long as you got hurt playing football, 160 guaranteed. If you, for any other reason, stop playing, you only get 105. That's how I take it.
Are we going to sit here and say that man's worth 105,000? I know the Cardinals are your team.
105,000, I would say.
He's definitely worth that.
Or 105 million. I'm sorry.
This is a market setting deal. Like Aaron Rodgers, market setting deal. Deshaun Watson, market setting deal for good or bad. Patrick Mahomes, market setting deal. This is a market setting deal moving forward. We'll get into it for Lamar Jackson.
But I think Aaron Rodgers earned it. I think that Pat Mahomes earned it. I don't know that Kyler Murray's earned this kind of money yet. Money, but maybe not this kind of money.
No.
So his average annual is 46.1 million, which is second behind Aaron Rodgers. Deshaun Watson's deal has a value of 46 million a year, and Patrick Mahomes' deal averages 45 million a year, but obviously Patrick Mahomes' deal is also longer and worth total dollars more.
So what does this do to, say, Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones, that's who we want to talk about.
Yeah, and I mean that sincerely. Like, what does that do to a Daniel Jones who is just floundering?
Exactly, it does nothing because he's.
But does that bury him farther? Like, if a guy like Kyler Murray can pull 105 guaranteed, and he's just semi-producing.
Well, he's made the playoffs.
Still producing more than Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
but Daniel Jones can't, hit the broadside of a barn.
And that's Daniel Jones' problem. It's got nothing to do with Kyler Murray's.
Yeah.
Still has to do.
But what I'm saying is, a team like this is Kyler Murray the measuring stick for halfway.
Kyler Murray is, in a lot of people's eyes, a to-be franchise. Like, he is the franchise now for them, and they're putting the wagon on him and saying, "We're with you for good or for bad at this point."
So then you look at Daniel Jones and go, "It's time to move on."
I don't understand where Daniel Jones comes in this conversation.
Because I think when you have a promising quarterback who came in with a lot of clout, and then they drop the ball for 2 seasons in a row, but it might not necessarily be his fault. Look at a Tua, look at a Daniel Jones, look at these semi-okay when we drafted them, but then they don't produce for 2 years. But then you look at Kyler Murray, who, okay, they made it to the playoffs, but like they always seem to fall off the last 2 years. Like, do you start stacking up? Well, Kyler Murray got this kind of money. Daniel Jones, you don't deserve to even sniff, his jock strap.
He doesn't. That's what I'm trying to figure out where this argument is.
Do we cut him? Do we say, like, they're paying outrageous money for a guy like Kyler Murray?
Replace him with.
It's a fair point.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Dan Jones just has to accept where he's at in the pay scale, and no, he doesn't deserve anything close to this. And he either accepts it or he quits. But there's no real incentive for the Giants to get rid of him until there's better talent on the market that they can get rid of him for.
Because if I'm the Cardinals, I'm thinking the same thing. Like, am I going to pay 105 to this guy, or am I going to get somebody else who's out there?
Well, it's who's out there. That's going to be the problem. Like, you have to find somebody who's available that you can bring in. And two, to this point, Kyler Murray's deal has the second most guaranteed money behind Deshaun Watson, which leads into a reminder that if you put guaranteed money out there, you as an ownership group or owner or family owner, whatever you are, have to put up that money and put it in escrow. So you have to have expendable millions of dollars, which not every franchise is going to do.
Sure.
We're going to see this with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is either going to get screwed by the Bengals, or he's going to be on the free agent market, and the Bengals aren't going to be able to keep him because the Bengals do not have that money. They don't have that money to sit behind there.
Here's my thing. This is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, if I'm an owner and I have Muff on my team, he's a quarterback, and he's an okay quarterback. He's a decent quarterback. My only other option is, say, Alex. Okay, and Alex plays for the Giants. Okay, I'm looking here. I can go, well, I could pay Muff some more money, keep him for the long term, 5 years. I'm looking at a draft class that probably isn't stellar. I could throw away rookie money, or I could try to see what old Alex is going to do because his rookie deal is coming up.
Are you trying to say that I'm not as good as Daniel Jones? Because I think I am.
Right. And now I'm just going to settle and pay Muff. Because that's what the Cardinals did.
I mean, you're saying they settled, but who else are they going to give that money to? That's the question I have. They either lose the quarterback.
Okay, which would have been And you pay the money to the rookie deals that are coming up.
Right, but who are they getting in this draft class? That's the problem. Like, if Kyler Murray is better than anything that they see coming up in the next 2 to 3 years, you pay him because you don't have anybody to replace him on your roster. Who are they going to get? Like, wait for Jared Goff to come out of Detroit? Like, there's nobody else sitting out there right now.
Daniel Jones,
Jimmy G.
I don't
understand.
know.
Daniel Jones sucks. I don't know why he keeps coming up, but
the Giants should move on from him. That's kind of what I'm driving at.
well, where's his contract?
He's got to be coming close to an end.
He's got another year or two, I think. Lamar Jackson's still without a contract extension,
which is ludicrous to me.
And this, I think, is where he's able to apply the pressure now that Kyler Murray has received this deal.
And where does he say? I'm gonna go where?
But he still has a year left, so he's not going to go anywhere.
So what pressure is he going to put on?
He can put it on the Ravens that he will leave after this year, and he will not return back if they do not extend him.
And where will he go?
Anywhere.
New York, the Giants, apparently.
All right.
There's plenty of places that Lamar Jackson would be a major upgrade for.
He could go to Carolina. He could go to Seattle.
Tales, California.
All right. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, there's the bottom half of the league, or the bottom half of the league quarterback wise, is probably all willing to consider different quarterbacks at this point.
Okay.
I mean, what did the Cardinals moved on from Josh Rosen real quick to get to Kyler Murray?
I'm just asking for the scenario to be played out for me. That's all.
Okay.
Carry on.
49ers have given permission to Jimmy G to find a new team and seek a trade. Do we think he's going to end up anywhere right away, or is this going to be a end of training camp situation?
End of training camp.
It's just like somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
And it's time for him to come in.
Yeah.
All right. Josh Rosen signs a one-year deal with the Browns.
I mean, that might be their best option right now.
Well, Sean Watson's still eligible.
Yes, technically. You know what I mean? If he's not playing.
Do we think he's going to see the field this year?
If Deshaun Watson gets suspended, yes.
Don't they have one more in the tank before they get to Josh Rosen?
At this point, who the hell knows what they're doing up there?
But sees the field, not starts.
Okay, sees the field aside from garbage time stuff.
I don't know. I have no idea. So every Saturday morning here in Columbus, we have the Cleveland, whatever you want to hear, the Cleveland news, which is stupid to me, but whatever. I'm still angry about it. Just give me Marty McGee or give me Cincinnati football at this point. But
Jacoby Brissett.
I don't understand. And I think most of the reporting is like, well, we got some receivers. And who's going to throw the ball? We got some receivers. Like,
yeah, they have Amari Cooper.
That was talked about a lot this week.
But coming from, well, right now the depth chart is one, obviously Deshaun Watson, second, Jacoby Brissett, third, Josh Dobbs, and fourth, Josh Rosen.
I think it's this Russian roulette up there.
Yeah.
All right.
T's and P's world.
T's and P's.
To John Mechie III, Texans wide receiver, former Alabama standout, drafted in the second round this year by the Texans after they traded with the Browns for 3 other picks to acquire Mechie. He was diagnosed with leukemia and likely will not play this year. Mechie came out and said he had acute promyelocytic leukemia, and it is one of the more curable leukemias. Per him, I wouldn't have known that. But however, with ongoing medical treatment, he doesn't feel he will see this team see the field this season. Nick Saban put out his T's and P's and said the Alabama family's behind him.
Speedy recovery, Mr. Mechie.
Amen.
The Madden ratings came out for I'm sure there's others, but the top 10 NFL rated quarterbacks in this year's Madden game are
Where do you want me to start?
10, Matthew Stafford. 9, Lamar Jackson. 8, Russell Wilson. 7, Justin Herbert. 6, Dak Prescott. 5, Joe Burrow. 4, Josh Allen. 3, Patrick Mahomes. 2, Aaron Rodgers. 1, the goat of goats, Tom Brady.
I think Matt Stafford has to be higher up that list. And I think that
No.
Russell Wilson isn't even on it. I would take Russell Wilson. I would take Matt Stafford every day above Russell Wilson.
I think you move 1 and 2 down to
You
6 and 7.
You want to make
So-
Aaron Rodgers number 1? Is that what I heard?
Not 6,
You
no,
move
1
1
and
and 2.
2. No, I think you move 1. You could move 1 and 2 down to 3 and 4. I think that they're going to stay 1 and 2 because of their history.
Yeah, they're selling the game.
Yeah. But I think that the next 2 I'm okay with. That would be who I'd put next. Joe Burrow, good. I might put Justin Herbert above Dak Prescott at this point. Russell Wilson would be 10 for sure on that list. I'd probably go Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson.
I have no idea how Matthew Stafford is not ranked above Dak Prescott,
I know.
Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson. How is this not possible?
Okay. Let's move on to the NFC East
Where does Joe Burrow go in your list, Jim?
Yeah.
If you're
Wait,
moving 1 and 2 down to like 6 and 7, being
Well,
Aaron
he would
Rodgers
go
and
up 2
Tom Brady.
spots. He would go up 2 spots. So he go to 3.
So Joe Burrow is not better than Josh Allen?
No.
Josh Allen is getting like a lot of love in the QB ratings right now.
It goes Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. It goes Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Matt Stafford, Russell Wilson.
okay.
God. Does Matt Stafford get no love? This week's,
He kicked a woman off the stage.
On act, he apologized.
because that has anything to do with his on-field talent.
Yeah, wait a second. Yeah, that's a good point. 2 things. 1, he apologized. 2, okay.
And Tom Brady deflated balls and cheated, but he's still our bug.
No proof.
All right, moving on.
The NFC East breakdown is this week's division breakdown. We have this and one more division in the NFC until we get into the AFC. The NFC East, as a reminder, last year's standings, the Cowboys are 12-5, earning a playoff berth. The Eagles 9-8, also playoff contenders, and we are the Commanders. Dum, 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 dum. At 7-10, and the Giants, the lowly Giants, with Daniel Jones, who apparently is a much better quarterback than anybody thinks, according to Jim.
That's not what I said.
Rounded out the division at the bottom, 4-13. He tripped over a line on the field, Jim. Let's not forget this.
I'm not saying he doesn't suck. I'm just saying, like, when do you cut the strings and let him loose?
I think you could have used a better example, is all I'm getting at.
Okay.
We will start out with the Dallas Cowboys.
Mojo moments.
Are they who's the team this year in the HBO series?
I think it's the Titans. The Titans were midseason last year, right?
Yes.
Oh, Alex, do the recon.
Somebody look
All
that
right.
up.
On I almost said on knocked up.
Oh, knocked up. Now to the Cowboys.
Cowboys losses in the offseason. Amari Cooper, wide receiver, was traded. Lyle Collins, offensive tackle, was released. Connor Williams, another offensive lineman, became a free agent. Cedric Wilson, wide receiver, free agent, and Randy Gregory, D end, lost to free agency.
All right, take your guess. Who is it this year?
The Raiders.
Denver.
Lions.
Oh, yeah, I knew that too. Damn.
Why
Starts August 9th. No free ads, but it starts August 9th.
Jeez, why? Why are we going to Detroit for this?
For Detroit.
Additions for the Cowboys. Dalton Schultz at tight end. He was actually franchise tagged, not an addition, but franchise tagged. Leighton Vander Esch was re-signed. Millie Hooker was re-signed. Dorrance Armstrong was re-signed. Michael Gallup was re-signed. James Washington, wide receiver, came in free agency. Jaron Kearse was re-signed, and they gained an offensive tackle and Tyler Smith in the draft. Notable additions for the boys.
Them boys.
Them boys. Their offense, obviously led by quarterback Dak Prescott, running back Ezekiel Elliott, wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, James Washington, and tight end Dalton Schultz. On the defensive side of the ball, they've got end DeMarcus Lawrence, linebackers Michael Parsons and Leighton Vander Esch, quarterback Trayvon Diggs, and somebody in here found a kicker item.
I did. So I was reading an article that says that, and the article was from like a week ago, I think, so I haven't done up to date, but I guess they have one kicker on their like 75 man roster. 75, and it's a undrafted rookie out of Texas Tech, and they were laughing because apparently this happened to McCarthy when he was in Green Bay with Mason Crosby. Fun fact. And he said that he thinks that with age he's developed. He was like in his 30s then, and he's like 50 something now, and he said with age he thinks he's developed a lot more patience and he's handling it better this time.
All right,
so that's that.
That was the longest. I'll never get that time back in my life for a kicker.
Hey, kickers are people too, Jim.
Good grief.
Okay, I hope your team has a shitty ass kicker this year, and let's not see you sweat it.
Who's your kicker, Jim?
I don't know because it's a kicker.
No respect. Yeah, who wins games? This is the Texas Tech kicker who kicked like the 67-yard field goal last year to beat Iowa State.
Bombs, Jim. Bombs.
All right.
Kicks
Let's go.
games.
So, questions for the Cowboys this year. Can Dak Prescott stay healthy?
Yeah, probably. Next.
Alex is allowed to have an opinion, Jim.
I think he'll stay healthy, but not have a great year.
Okay. I think that he was going to miss time this year. More
Okay.
to come on that later. Is CeeDee Lamb ready to be the guy, possibly the only guy at wide receiver until Michael Gallup returns from last year's injury?
No.
He has to be. He has to be the guy. I just don't think he's gonna be.
I
I don't
think
think
he's
he's good.
Because
I
Amari
think he's gonna
Cooper's
be a guy. Yeah.
I think he's too immature.
He's either the guy or they don't have a guy.
Yeah.
That's it. Michael Gallup could be the guy, but he's going to be coming back from an injury. So
Yeah.
TBD. This is why I don't think Dak Prescott's going to make it through the season. The offensive line play, I don't think is going to support the run game and protect Dak. Let's say the rest of the co-hosts.
I think it'll be fine.
I think Dak's going to spend more time on his ass than he'd like.
I agree. Any other thoughts on America's team?
No, I don't think I have any. Still don't
I
like.
think it's very telling that we didn't talk about Zeke to any of this.
I mentioned him.
No, I mean in our questions part. Like we don't. I think it's time to put Zeke out to pasture. Like I think it's over.
So Zeke did really well when they had like a powerhouse offensive line. I think I think most starting running backs could have picked up a lot of yards behind that original offensive line that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as he's got banged up a little bit and the offensive line has deteriorated and they put all the money into Dak, I think that's been the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I concur. Move on. Let's move on to the Eagles.
EAGLES.
Muff is
Eagles.
sporting Eagle colors.
I have green on. Yes. Green for golf, not for the Eagles. Different colors, I think. The Eagles, key losses in the offseason. Brandon Brooks, guard, retired. Roddy McLeod, safety, lost free agency. Steven Nelson, lost free agency in the defensive backfield. Alex Singleton, linebacker, lost free agency. Hassan Ridgeway, defensive tackle, lost free agency. Jannard Avery, linebacker, lost free agency. See a lot of defensive people lost free agency in Philadelphia. But for their additions, they did bring AJ Brown from the Titans in at wide receiver.
Yeah, that was the big controversial whatever.
And then they replenished everything we just talked about on defensive end with Hassan Reddick, James Bradbury, Kazir White, Zach Pascal, Jaquiski Tart, Jordan Davis, the big boy from Georgia. Don't forget that Jordan Davis is an absolute monster of a human. And Nakobe Dean, linebacker.
I mean, I don't know. I think their defense, their additions on defense look better than their losses. So
I think it's a net positive for them. They got a lot of good grades in the offseason, Eagles did. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that just based on paper there, it's positive.
Yeah. On the offensive side of the ball, we have quarterback Jalen Hurts, running back Miles Sanders, wide receivers A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert at tight end.
And Zach Pascal, he's actually a wide receiver. He came from the Colts, I believe.
Yes.
I mean, if Jalen Hurts stays healthy and plays good Jalen Hurts football, then they have a chance to be a decent team. If Jalen Hurts plays crappy Jalen Hurts football, it's not going to be well.
I'm interested to see how the run game goes, but we'll talk more about that. On the defensive side of the ball, it's really tough for me to find people, if I'm being honest, that stand out aside from Darius Slay and Derek Barnett. And then the people they brought in, maybe.
I think they brought in some guys that will supplement their defense. I think they're just going to be an average team. I don't think they're going to suck, but I don't think they're going to blow anyone away.
Yeah.
I think that this sums up how they are kind of like, I always think of this conference as the NFC least because I feel like I'm never very excited about anything in them. And I feel like you can tell by the energy of this breakdown. We're just like, yep.
They're there.
They got a lot of weapons. They got a lot of stuff.
This was the name I was looking at. Jalen Reagor wasn't bad last year. He's another wide receiver. And then they have Quez Watkins as well. He was with them last year. So,
questions for Philadelphia. Are all the new pieces going to fit in? And is Nick Sirianni going to be able to manage the high expectations in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I think I got a lot of faith in that coach.
Yeah, the coach I don't have a problem with, and I think the new pieces will fit on defense especially. But I don't know that. I think he'll manage the expectations, but I think they're going to fall even at par or a little under. I don't think they're going to exceed expectations this year.
I'm a fan of the Eagles in the NFC least. Is A.J. Brown going to have a good season, possibly the best season of his career, with Jalen Hurts throwing to him and a different offense that isn't centered around Derrick Henry?
No.
I don't think the best season of his career, but I think that he'll have a good season. Like you said, I mean, well, honestly, Derrick Henry spent some time on the injured reserve and A.J. Brown didn't. I just kind of talked myself out of my point. I was going to say, yeah, because Derrick Henry is such a focus, but he wasn't playing and you didn't hear about how amazing A.J. Brown was.
I think A.J. Brown missed some games last year too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. And will Miles Sanders make it through the season? Because the run game is going to have to be something to supplement what they got going on.
Yeah, I think he is.
I think he's another one that's about to lose his welcome as a starter in a backfield.
Why?
He's just been hurt a lot. He's good. He's good when he's playing.
But
he's not playing. He's not playing a lot.
Yeah, I thought you were saying like because he's not good. Yeah, no, because Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott are their second and third, and we saw a lot of Boston Scott last year.
Yeah. So I think this is Miles Sanders' last year to prove himself in Philly.
That's fair.
Yeah. As Jim listens to TikToks, but won't start a TikTok for the podcast. Just put out.
You're right. You're right.
Put that out for the world to hear. Any other thoughts on the Eagles?
No, I don't think so. I think that I'm feeling very average about the Eagles.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, like I got enough pieces. I was high on the Cowboys in this division, and then we kind of through this breakdown kind of talked myself into the Eagles. So this whole division, man, it could be He could be really good or could suck.
It's going to be like the NL Central, Alex.
I'm leaning more towards suck because I don't see really good.
Yeah.
Next, we are the Commanders.
Bum, 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 bum.
Losses over the offseason. Ryan Fitzpatrick retires. Wah, wah, wah. DeAndre Carter lost wide receiver, free agency. Brandon Scherf, lineman, lost free agency, and safety Landon Collins was released. They bring in Carson Wentz at quarterback, Jahan Dotson from the draft, Andrew Norwell from free agency on the offensive line, and Trey Turner as well on the O-line and free agency.
Okay.
At offense, they have Carson Wentz at quarterback, Antonio Gibson at running back, and at wide receiver, they have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Logan Thomas at tight end. Very serviceable tight end over the past year or two.
I think if they can protect Carson Wentz, they have some good production out of that offense with those weapons. They have the possibility to do that.
I was reading a lot about Carson Wentz and his downfield throwing and how he basically has a high percentage of completions downfield. And I think with a receiver like Terry McLaurin, you can take advantage.
Terry.
Yeah, I think you can take advantage of that.
We're going to see. Carson Wentz not coming with a lot of high stock from his year in Indianapolis. On the defensive side of the ball, we've got defensive ends Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and linebacker David Mayo.
I like Chase Young. I would love to rebel rouse and be like, Chase Young, but I can't. Like, I want him to stay healthy. I want him to produce, but I don't know that he has it.
Got it. The questions for the Commanders: will Carson Wentz find any success in Washington? And I'm going to put an over/under on this for discussion. Over under 15 interceptions. Over under 22 touchdowns.
Under on the interceptions. Under on the touchdowns, for sure.
Alex
stepped away.
I think I just came up with those numbers off the top of my head. I think he goes over on interceptions. I think he goes over on touchdowns too. I think he has to start slinging the ball around a lot.
I mean, it depends on the offensive line. Do they give him time to throw the ball? In fact, let's reverse those numbers. If he's under on the interceptions, he'll go over on the touchdowns.
Okay.
That's what I'll say.
Very much. Over under 8 touchdowns to Terry McLaurin.
Push.
Yeah, that 8 number I saw. I was thinking about it. I was like, 8's a number. I was going with the over, so I'm gonna say he gets over.
Yeah, I think 8 is his number.
Will the defense step up, especially being young, mostly in the front 7?
I want them to. Very badly. I don't know that they will.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know where like the issue is. So they've got two very good DNs. I don't know if there's an issue in the middle of the line where they're just able to chip and put tight ends out there and everything. And I don't know Mayo's a pretty decent linebacker, but I don't know what the malfunction is for the Commanders. I don't watch enough of their games.
Who is their defensive coordinator?
I do not know.
It's important. It's Del Rio. Remember, because he was the idiot who said stupid shit.
Yeah.
Del Rio.
Old Jack.
I feel like that's a really open statement when you're talking about the
Commanders.
The idiot
you're right.
Something really stupid.
Yeah, you're right.
It down to
you right.
One of 5 people in the organization, maybe.
Yes.
Question mark. Alex, any thoughts on Washington?
No thoughts on Washington. I just am very interested to see how Carson Wentz folds into this.
Welcome back, Alex. Glad you could rejoin us.
Thank you. I'm back.
Back. So lastly, we have the Giants.
The Giants.
I don't think either one of us are just kind of like, man, the Giants.
I think Kayvon Thibodeau is good ad. Good add to a defense that needed a lot of love. Fair. I think that Daniel Jones is going to be great.
I hate you both.
Will Saquon Barkley stay healthy through the whole season?
Is Daniel Jones a top 12 quarterback, Alex?
I think
is he top 10?
Yes,
is he better than Matthew Stafford?
I mean, he could be with the weapons that Stafford has.
He's better than Matthew Stafford. My God. The Giants, draft heavy. We've talked before about the wide receiver position. The Giants actually had like the highest paid wide receiver room over the past 2 or 3 years, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
that was the case because Daniel Jones was thrown to air most of the time. So I'm not going to put it fully on Daniel Jones' shoulders because he has
nobody.
He had a poop wide receiver staff. And Saquon Barkley has had issues staying healthy. Wide receivers, right? Kenny Galladay, Sterling Shepard. Does that just bring fear to the defensive backfields of the NFL?
That can't be all he's got.
Go ahead, Alex. Find this depth chart and start naming them off.
No, hold on. I'm going to do it. Keep talking. Talk amongst yourselves.
Defense, they got Leonard Williams at the end position. Obviously, they're hoping that Thibodeau is going to come in and make an impact. And they've got Blake Martinez as the tackling machine in the middle of that defense.
You got Robert Foster from Alabama.
Right. Household name.
Shepard. David Sills the fifth from West Virginia, Alex.
Well, I mean, he's fantastic.
Okay. Apparently.
Kadarius Toney from Florida.
And yeah, so the problem with the Giants is you had like Kadarius Toney, Galladay, and another guy that came in, newer guy. Shit. But they're all hurt. So they all have injuries at some level. Like I was reading, kind of digging through some stuff to prep for this, and they talked about how all of them are wearing red jerseys, like do not hit, like injured. So like that's not a good sign to start the season when you're the Giants and you have Saquon Barkley who's injury prone and your top 3 receivers are hurt or injured.
I just change it to the Meat Wagon. That's the name of their team.
Meat Wagon.
Them and the Ravens. I feel like the Ravens give them a run for their money, especially after last year.
Yeah, but the Ravens can reload.
They tried.
Giants just like, all right, we're just hurt.
4-13 last year. Questions for the Giants. Is Daniel Jones salvageable for the Giants at quarterback, or is it time to go back to the drawing board?
I think they ride it out. Or you do tank a season. You just throw it all away. Just bomb it.
I don't know if they're bombing for the draft is the problem.
I say you throw it all away.
Throw it all away and draft an Ohio State quarterback.
Get an Alabama quarterback. Are you stupid? Come on.
Yeah, Bryce Young's got another year or two, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
One more year.
Yeah. Alex, Daniel Jones?
If he doesn't do it this year, he's out. Or they at least have to start hunting for something new.
Yeah. I think he's out after this year. Is Saquon Barkley going to make it through the season?
No. I have no faith.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is like a Zeke Elliott year for Saquon Barkley, in my mind, as far as he's got to prove something or they may start looking for other options.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I hope that he does. I think he's good. I think like he's one of those things that's a sad story because he could have been so good, but I don't really expect much.
And lastly, who do we think is wide receiver 1 at the end of the season for the Giants?
Who knows?
That's the question.
I have no idea.
I say it's the tight end, Ricky Seals-Jones.
I'm going with the kid from West Virginia.
Yeah, David Sills a fifth.
I'm going to say one nice thing about West Virginia a year. This is it.
Oh, thanks, Jim. I'll mark it on the calendar.
Thank you.
All right, in my diary tonight. Dear diary, Jim said something nice.
There we go.
Does he have like a cool nickname, Alex?
David Sills?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Dick DS5.
Guy with all his teeth.
For those who can't see, I just approached Jim.
Oh, you live close to a river, Jim, that noted for not having the best hygiene.
I feel like there's always something really weird going on at my house when we're recording these, and I live by myself. So,
what do you have? What do you got going on? What's going on across the street?
I kind of thought
Here's deliverance.
I kind of smelled like something burning a little bit ago, and that's why I did some recon. Yeah. And then I looked out the window, and this man is standing in the street. He can see me because I'm in my office and I have like a little window here, and the light's on. It's dark out. So he's like waving his arms like this in the street, like trying to get my attention. And that's why I stood up again and was like, what the fuck? I was like, ignored him, and I like pointed at my computer like I'm on a meeting, and he's like still waving. And he's like, what house is 111?
Like, you got some pretty teeth.
Like, I thought you had like a lady keeled over in the car with you or something when you were flailing in front of my house.
Let's wrap up this crap division.
Are we just going to gloss over the fact that Alex could have been in a very
He's in
compromising
West Virginia,
situation?
man. Like, that just is what it is.
I probably shouldn't have opened my door, to be honest, but I did. So
I got my cousin Betty over in house 111. I got to go. We got a date tonight.
How's your neighbor, Alex? We had some storm roll through.
Can we finish this segment, please?
That's so he is 111. And
come on.
Still on the porch.
Writing on the wall, Alex. Writing on the wall.
This is good TV. This is good radio, guys. Come on.
Projected standings for the NFC East. Let's start with Jim this week, and then I'll go, and then Alex can round it out.
I got the Giants at 5-12, the Commanders at 8-9, the Cowboys at 10-7, the Eagles at 11-6. I could flop in the Cowboys and the Eagles because this division is so volatile, and just keep the records where they are. Either one of them could get either record.
Okay, I have the Giants at 6-11, the Commanders at 8-9, the Cowboys at 9-8, and the Eagles, EAGLES Eagles, at 10-7, win the division, get to the playoffs, and win a playoff game.
Ooh.
I have the Cowboys at 12-5, the Eagles at 10-7, the Commanders at 9-8, and the Giants at 5-12. And I don't know if anyone from this division wins a playoff game.
No.
Jesus. So that's the NFC East. Any last thoughts?
No.
We're glad it's over. Are we glad it's over?
Yes.
Yeah.
That wraps up this week's rendition of
the off season. This is Mount Massive. All right, so this week's topic brought to you by Big Nate doing the Beanbag Bob. He told us since we did the most hateable, dislikable, we should do the top 5 most likable people in sports. So, of course, if a viewer, listener reaches out to us, we're going to do it. This week, we're going to start with Muff. I would like to hear whatever logic that you had. And I'll probably argue with you.
You argue with Muff? No.
So, go ahead, Muff.
Never. 5 in no particular order. These are just the 5 most likable people in my sports world. We'll start with Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
Today. I am
almost made my list.
In the history of sports. It's such an iconic moment. Lou Gehrig, I think, was at the time universally loved and has lived on as a likable person. Didn't say it had to be a living person in sports. In fact, 2 of the people in mine are no longer living. Next, Kobe Bryant. I think that although he did have issues that people, for good reason, can take some issue 2,
Right.
as a person in sports, I think he was still a likable human being, more so in his final years, when he kind of embraced that girl dad role. I think that endeared him to people that maybe did not have that same feeling towards him before then. Next, I have Roger Federer, somebody in the sports world who I don't hear anything really negative about. Does really well, one of the best tennis players of all time. Jim again on TikTok, great.
My wife keeps sending me stuff. Get off me.
Well, she keeps sending you stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Roger Federer, I think just in the tennis world, he's not somebody like Novak Djokovic who comes out and sometimes says some things that are very controversial. He's not known for like doing anything on the court that's super disengaging or that make people don't like him. So Roger Federer. Next, I have Brian Scalarini.
Who?
Of Boston Celtics
Yeah.
fame, I will say. Also played for the Bulls for a period of time. He was the guy on the team that never saw the court unless it was the end of the game and the game was in hand, or that game was out of hand, and everyone loved. He was like an ultimate glue guy in the locker room for the Celtics especially, and he was very endearing to that Boston crowd. And I remember when he played for the Bulls, it was a similar kind of situation. So a likable person in sports, Brian Scalabrine.
All
And
right.
last, James Conner. Although he's no longer playing Pittsburgh, I think as a likable person in sports, played at University of Pittsburgh, beat leukemia, right, Alex?
Yes.
Cancer. Beat cancer.
Yeah, cancer was.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact kind, to be completely honest, but
Right. Beat cancer and then was drafted by the Steelers. It just, again, he does a lot of work. I think he still does work in Pittsburgh, and I'm sure he's doing something now that he's out in Arizona. So James Conner, although he's still no longer in Pittsburgh, I think a very likable person in sports because of his story.
All right, Alex, your turn.
Alrighty. I have on my list the Mannings, both Peyton and Eli together. More Peyton, if I pick one. Rob Gronkowski, Shaquille O'Neal, Lee Corso, and Derek Jeter, with honorable mention to John Cena. Because I don't know if we're putting him in like really an athlete realm, but he's a very likable character.
But Alex, you can't see him.
That's true. That's why I like him.
Alex, I hate your list.
What? Go on. What about it?
And I'll even so far as to say, like, the Mannings, I'll put an asterisk by because Peyton is on my list. I hate Eli Manning. Every Chargers fan hates Eli Manning.
Okay, that's one subset of people.
Cooper? You don't like Cooper Manning?
Sure.
You don't like Archie?
No, I'm not a big fan of Archie.
Okay.
Rob Gronkowski pisses off everybody that is 55 or up.
Okay.
Okay.
I still don't know. I think he's fun. People root for him.
I'm going to let Shaq go because I've seen Shaq do some nice things in the world. Okay. Lee Corso pisses off everybody.
I know, but I think but he's like, I love to hate. It doesn't matter. Piss off or not pissed off. Everyone gets excited every Saturday morning for him to put a freaking hat on his head.
Okay. But he pisses off a lot of people.
When I was thinking like people that people watch on TV and like get excited about, it was him. And yeah, of course, half the crowd's gonna be pissed off every week. But when he comes back around the next year, they're still like excited to see him.
All right, Derek Jeter, a whole state fucking hates him.
Yeah, but who cares about that state?
That's fair, but like a whole state hates him. And then John Cena, like fans love to boo that man.
Never mind. I'm not allowed to talk about it. But the John Cena who is truly John Cena.
That's true.
Okay.
He's a quality human being, right?
Yes.
He is a quality human being. Okay. So
I love that Muff had Kobe Bryant and Lou Gehrig on his list, and I forgot to finish filling out my honorable mentions, but they would have been there.
My list.
I'm still trying to figure out why Jim didn't argue with any of mine.
I don't really have an issue with yours.
Kobe didn't make mine only because I think people call him a ball hog a lot, but he's my favorite athlete all the time. So good job, Muff.
My list, Peyton Manning, the only Manning I truly like. I don't know anybody who has an objection about Peyton Manning. J.J. Watt may not be the best Watt.
That should have just been the Watt brothers.
Thank you.
May not be the best one, but the most likable Watt.
I think DJ's the most likable.
I said
Anyway.
I had the Watt brothers on my list, but I didn't want to match Jim.
Okay. Dale Jr. Voted the most popular driver every year he raced. Doris Burke. Steph Curry. Who
No.
hates Steph Curry, Alex?
I hate the Steph Curry pick. Every adult over 55.
Oh, get out of here.
Any big man that's ever played in the NBA hates Steph Curry.
Get out of here.
I don't think many people hate Steph Curry, but I don't think he's likable enough. I think there's a lot more likable characters in sports than
My grandfather, God rest his soul, would be ecstatic to see Steph Curry play basketball because he's shooting the ball.
all the time.
I think
Yeah.
Steph Curry is less likable now that his kids have grown up.
Exactly. No, they liked his daughter.
Get out of here.
Now he's just an executive producer making hand over fist in all of his other adventures.
I think he's a very intelligent, skilled, beautiful man.
Skilled, beautiful man.
I was trying to think of like some of the sports announcers. Like there's a couple that people like, but there's also usually at least one group of people that hates
Just
them.
be real careful what name you say. I
Well,
will ban you from the show if you say one name, one announcer.
I'm
You're
just
just banished.
that people like.
Boomer Esiason.
Oh,
That's okay. I'll
Phil
let that slide.
Phil Sims.
Not a fan.
I was
There's
trying to.
one
I was
guy-
really just trying to guess which one.
I actually think he's passed.
Is it this guy? Chris Collinsworth?
That's who I was thinking. That's
No.
who. When I was thinking Chris Collinsworth was the one that I was thinking, but I don't think people actually like. They like that part of him, but
Boom.
I'm-
How did John Madden not make any of our lists?
God,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people don't like John Madden.
well, who's the broadcaster that you're talking about, Jim?
Keith Jackson, man.
Oh, he wasn't on my radar for favorite.
Keith Jackson.
The
I hate Keith
granddaddy
Jackson.
of them all.
Oh man, I hate Keith Jackson.
I was gonna put a Harbaugh brother on my list just to really like stir Jim's
You know
pot.
what? Like,
They are likable though.
I like John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And to be fair, before he took the job, I was not a hater of Jim. But battle lines have been drawn.
Andy Reid could have made these lists.
Yeah, but then his son went and did that
Walrus.
terrible thing. And
That's his son.
yeah, guilt by association, though.
Go by fatherhood.
Yeah.
Boris.
Ooh.
All right. So
Kudos on Doris.
thank
I
you.
would not have brought Doris. I wouldn't have thought of Doris Burke going through this.
Well, there's a whole like homage shirt that, like, you know. Anyway,
What about
that's
Usain
not
Bolt?
massive.
Okay.
Usain
Alex?
Bolt. There's a thing about Usain Bolt. Like, I thought about it,
Mhm.
but like I feel social media is starting to turn on it.
Oh, really? I'll have to
Yeah.
look at it.
So I don't know. I didn't want to get caught up.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you have a topic you'd like us to rank, do what Nate did and hit us up. Muff, I see you posing. It's very weird now. Hit us up in the Twitter, social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube comments. Hit us up. That's Mount Massive.
Yodeling.
This is Quick Thoughts.
Welcome to this week's edition of Quick Thoughts. Starting off in the fight game. Pow, pow, pow. Paddy the Baddy is an electric factory in the UFC and has the support of Barstool Sports and Dave Portnoy. Is he the next megastar of UFC? Jim?
I'm gonna pass to Muff. I'm gonna let Muff go first because I've never seen Muff take interest so hard in a UFC fighter that I want to see what he does first, and then I'll react.
Paddy the Baddy is not just the next megastar. He is a megastar in the UFC now and will be in the future. After his, I don't understand how somebody can go to a pre-fight press conference or whatever they do when they stand up and look at each other, leave somebody hanging on the handshake, tell him he's going to teabag him after he puts him out, and then do it and still get hugged by that person when he gets off the mat or off the floor of the octagon, whatever we call it. So Paddy the Baddy is the megastar right now. He is elevated to this point. I think the fact that he's hitched his wagon to Barstool Sports along with the other who's the woman fighter that Barstool, they both like they're like a tag, like a package deal right now. I think they're elevating that game right now in the social media world because UFC, they're not super. I mean, let me phrase that. The UFC, I don't see in the social media space because you can't see the fights, you don't see the clips. Like you see them for 2 minutes and then they're all taken down. So I think the fact that Barstool Sports is doing this and putting themselves behind two fighters that have been very successful thus far is really cool. The only other person right now in my mind that's active in the fight game right now or the UFC game that is another up and comer is Sugar Sean O'Malley. But I think Paddy the Baddy is it.
I just like the way he approaches life and the way he handles his business. He's a very humble dude. Which, I don't mind if you're not humble. I like the show too. I like the way Connor does his business, but the way that Paddy does his thing, and that he had a friend who committed suicide, and the way that he addressed mental health at the end of his fight, stand up guy, stand up dude. So I'm about this guy. I really hope this thing takes off for him.
I got it. Let's move on to football. The Colts owner, Jim Irsay, pays $6 million for back to fighting Muhammad Ali's WBC championship belt at auction. Would you pay this much for Muhammad Ali's WBC championship belt, Jim?
No. And I know I'm going to catch a lot of shit from some people. It's not that I don't like Muhammad Ali. I would not pay $6 million for a title belt. Whether it was Mike Tyson, who I'm a huge fan of, whether it was Muhammad Ali, I just wouldn't pay $6 million for a title belt. Jim Irsay has probably blown $6 million on a lot of other things that he doesn't need. I would not spend $6 million on a title belt.
Muff, what about you?
This is Jim Irsay,
Yeah.
who has also spent all sorts of money on pretty much trying to bring the Beatles back together, like purchasing one by one articles that associated with each of the Beatles performers.
What do you think's worth more, Muhammad Ali stuff or Beatles stuff?
Beatles stuff.
I don't know, Muff.
Beatles
That's
stuff
tough.
or one glove. Beatles stuff. If he can bring
It's
all
a
of this.
belt.
Okay, whatever. Still, the Beatles stuff. If he brings all of that together, that Beatles stuff is worth, I think, a whole lot more.
Sure, as a combined collection. Correct. I agree.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure that Jim Irsay has also rode the white powder train before too. So
that's a public thing he's come out with.
He's got no problem blowing money.
He's also an NFL owner, so he's got the money.
Crazy.
What you did there. All right. Let's move out of the NFL and into the college football world with the University of Notre Dame.
Take that "the" off there.
Notre Dame is seeking $75 million in their new media rights deal to remain independent. How long until they finally have to join a conference? Muff?
3 years. Welcome to the Big Ten.
Him?
I think it determines if they get. Oh, Muff just floored me with 3 years. Hold on. If they get paid for the $75 million, I'll agree with Muff. They'll 3 years. If nobody pays them for the $75 million, they got to do it now.
I do think that if they wait 3 years, they end up in the Big Ten. I don't know if they
Yes.
have to do it now if they make it into the Big Ten.
I don't know why. I understand this whole tradition bullshit, but like,
Just join
I
us.
think it's just join a conference, you morons.
Word. Keeping with the college football realm, the University of Tennessee Volunteers have received a notice of allegations indicating that they have 9, correct? Level 1 violations, as well as $60,000 plus in gifts/cash given to players under former coach Jeremy Pruitt. Why is the NCAA continuing to go after these kinds of allegations, and how much longer will they continue to do so until they call it quits? Jim?
I don't understand if this was Ohio State, Alabama, excuse me, Tennessee, or Alabama, Clemson, any of the top 10 schools, and you're chasing after like holding them accountable because it gave them some kind of performance edge, and you're trying to hold the integrity of the game. I understand maybe trying to prosecute these and bring integrity to the game. This is Tennessee. Tennessee has been kicked enough times by their own decision making that like you're kind of just kicking them while they're down. And the rules have changed. Can we just let this go? Please, like this is stupid.
Muff?
Yes.
Is that all you,
Let this go. This is dumb.
at this point? Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the reasoning
They
behind
need
it.
to just like drop a curtain and be like, hey, look, okay, we're starting now, we're over. Whatever happened in the past happened in the past. It's allowed to happen now. So it's not wouldn't change anything anyway if they did it. So, and it's not like Tennessee is, it's not like you were saying, it's not like Alabama did this. You're like, well, now you're looking back like, whoa, should Alabama have won all those titles? And it's Tennessee.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
I mean, it would only be worse if it was Rutgers or Vanderbilt.
If they found out that a team won a national championship and it was due to like a lot of that crap, I could see investigating it. But I think that you have to go situation by situation and decide, is this worth it?
Yeah. I agree.
All right. Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is in the news again as the coach of Liberty football. Why isn't this situation getting more attention? So listen to this and then give your thoughts on what should happen to Hugh Freeze.
Okay.
Remember that Freeze was ousted at Mississippi for using a university cell phone to contact an escort service.
Oh, yeah.
Chelsea Andrews, a former Liberty student, was one of more than 20 plaintiffs who sued Liberty last year, alleging that the university mishandled sexual assault cases and Title IX issues for years.
Mm-hmm.
Andrews has tweeted critically about Liberty University, one of which was hiring of Ian McCaw as athletic director, given that McCaw served in that capacity at Baylor University during a rampant sexual assault scandal.
Mm-hmm.
Freeze responds that you don't even know Ian McCaw. Freeze said in a direct message to Andrews, one of several sent in recent months, adding McCaw is a, quote, Jesus-like leader, unquote. Andrews declined to comment, but questioned Freeze's activity in a tweet. Why is the head football coach at Liberty University DMing me during and after my lawsuit with Liberty University at almost midnight when I didn't tag him and I haven't responded to the other DMs he sent me over the months? She wrote, publicly naming so he can see that I don't want direct contact with him.
Whose turn is it?
I think it's Muff's turn, but if you need to go.
Muff, go ahead. Just so you can set the tone.
How does this man still have a job anywhere at any school after DMing a former student at a university in which she is questioning the legitimacy of how they're handling sexual assault claims, I don't know, from an athletic director who was part of this at Baylor. Why is Liberty even able to hire him at that position? And Hugh Freeze, after he was fired for using university cell phone to do an escort service, is now probably using university cell phone to direct message former students about how their current athletic director is a Jesus-like leader. I get them both, kick them off the tour, Doug, using a Billy Madison reference. Like, get them out, show them the door, and close it.
Agreed. Jim?
Okay.
No, doesn't he? This is the problem with Jim. I think Jim could take this so many directions, and he's trying to decide which one's the appropriate direction to take it.
Yes. So Freeze was fired for calling some escorts at his previous job. He's calling McCaw Jesus-like leader. Maybe when he was calling those escorts, he was calling them for Bible study. Maybe.
Is this a serve in the area where you're most needed situation?
Maybe. To DM somebody at that time of day and to go on an attack and use the terms Jesus-like leader. I would like to know what McCaw does that makes him Jesus-like in his leadership abilities. Like, I don't know that I would probably play with Freeze at that time of day. Like, okay, Mr. Freeze, please cite your examples of Jesus-like and Mr. McCaw, please. And then to say that he's been doing this for a while.
Yeah. This is not the first time he's direct messaged that lady, that young woman.
Liberty University is a unique place. I'm going to let it go for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to go any further. I'm just going to say Freeze should be fired. He won't be. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to wink and smile at my buddy Muff. And I'm going to let it go.
Kick him off the tour.
That's Happy Gilmore, not Billy Madison. I misspoke.
All right. Next topic. Before anyone gets in trouble, Mike Leach was quoted as saying the following about the person who invented the necktie while wearing one. Quote, he's an idiot. When they invent a time machine, that guy is in trouble. End quote.
So I don't understand. I do not understand why this man's not in higher position in college football or college sports. This man is a genius.
Okay, Muff.
Mike Leach is the gift that keeps giving.
I'm not saying I disagree with him.
I'm just trying to figure out. He said it while at a press conference and wearing a tie. Like, is there something in his contract that said he had to wear
Oh,
it?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure this is like an obligation, and he's pissed off, and he's letting the world know that, by God, if there's a time machine, I'm gonna mess that guy up.
I just want to make sure. Somebody do a quick search here. Has Mike Leach ever been involved in any like scandals or?
Yeah, he was in a scandal with I think it was one of the announcers. He got into an overtraining scandal where he was too harsh.
Mike Leach fired after claims of abuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was too hard, and one of the people, it was an
He
ESPN
mistreated one of his
announcer
players.
whose kid was playing for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's not squeaky clean.
No.
But he's still hilarious.
James, his father, Craig James.
Yeah. Craig James.
It's Craig James. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to speak way out of turn here. Craig James' kid was not starting.
It says
You know
that
what I
they
mean?
put him in a dark shed.
That was the
He ordered
accusation.
James to stand in a dark shed at the Texas Tech football practice facility because he thought James was faking a concussion. That's awesome. I mean, awful.
Alex, is that a viable thing to do? If somebody has a concussion, just put him in a dark shed.
I mean, I don't know. Leach was trying to protect the player from an unseasonably warm day in Lubbock while he recovered from his concussion. Leach thought James would probably be better off in the equipment room. It's like a portable building. It's not a shed. It's air conditioned, if not very well ventilated, to a point where it's a luxury to go in there in the heat. Not only did he put him in a room out of the heat, but Leach put him in a room that was very dark, which is good for you if you have a concussion. That was the defense.
It was air conditioned. I'm not gonna say I'm all the way on Mike Leach's side, but I feel like I'm at the edge. I'm just not sure which direction I want to go.
Yeah, I'm not.
We should probably move on.
Yeah, let's move on before we get ourselves in trouble. All right, basketball. LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan play in the Drew League and make waves, getting the facility to capacity and probably over capacity. Is this good for the NBA and James, or is this only one bad injury story away? Is this only one bad injury waiting to happen?
I think it's me.
Muff?
Yeah.
This is cool. And I actually listened to an interview with it was somebody, I forget what college he played for. What was the story of last year's NCAA tournament, Alex? Which school was it? Small school.
Oh, the Peters Peacocks.
No, it was St. Bonaventure. Sorry, but it was St. Peter's. This was St. Bonaventure, who played in that game. An interview with Pat McAfee, and it was like the story of his life that he got a chance to play against, and actually was the person primarily guarding LeBron James. It was like one of those things where he did not intend to be playing in the game, had traveled to like the East Coast, and then once he found out that this was happening, went straight back to the West Coast to play in this game in this league, and now has like the story of his life. Is hoping that will elevate, to maybe get him like an opportunity in like the G League, or in like a short contract, like a 10-day contract in the NBA. So for that reason, I think it's great because it provides excitement and brings an opportunity. It's going to be great until somebody gets hurt doing it. So for now, it's great.
This is just me not knowing, but is the Drew League and the D League the same thing?
No, the Drew League is just like the summer league in LA.
Yeah.
I don't know all of the story behind it. I don't know if it's like Uncle Drew.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but that I think it's cool that they do it, but it's going to only be cool until somebody gets hurt.
Yeah. Jim?
I don't care.
All right. Baseball, where Jim cares even more. The home run derby was last week with Juan Soto getting the win, but the early story was Albert Pujols advancing and being recognized by all the players for his efforts and willingness to participate in the event. Where does Pujols rank for you in the hierarchy of baseball greatness? Muff? Jim?
I think that he's up there. I mean, he needs to have his due. He wasn't a cheating bastard, correct?
No cheating bastard.
Yeah, then I think he has to have his due. I agree.
Muff?
I think in like, I'm gonna say our lifetime, but our generation, because I think we're all similar as far as generational talent in baseball. Like,
Yeah.
Even though we have a difference in age, I think we're all still in like that same, like the baseball players that are in our era are all similar. I think Pujols is definitely a top 10 in our generation. He may be top 5.
I think he earns another layer of respect because of what Jim was saying. He's not really like super scandalous. He was just always a good, long-careered player. So good on him.
Yeah.
The All-Star game was also last week. Apparently, we weren't the only ones who didn't know because it was the least watched MLB All-Star game in history. Should they just cancel the game and just do a skills weekend or take a rest week?
Skills weekend.
Okay. Muff?
I'm for skills weekend. I'm just like home run derby, and then like they've tried the celebrity softball game, which I think has just fallen at this point.
I like the celebrity.
I liked it too, actually.
Yeah.
I think that they could
Did
do
you
like
watch it this year?
fly ball.
I watched parts of it.
So
I
it
think
still
they could
happened.
hope it. I think
Yeah,
they
it
could
happened.
do that more. Or do like celebrities versus all-stars, but make like difficult rules for the all-stars. Like they all have to bat left-handed. or like the opposite. Most of them can.
All right.
What do you do for like? I mean, it's all offensive related. Is there anything like defensively?
Yeah, like a pop fly, like shooting them different directions, and you have to catch them on the break.
It's like the jugs machine in football.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, we used to do that with the jugs machine for like baseball when we were little. You go in the outfield, and the coach would point at random places and shoot it.
There we go.
You know, like dive for them and stuff. But they could do something. Golf. Golf commentating legend David Faraday joins Live Golf, and there are rumors that Charles Barkley isn't far behind. If you could choose one person that could join Live as a golfer or commentator that would help sway the tides, who would it be? Muff?
I actually, Alex, I want to hear your response because I want to know who would do it for you. Like, who would make you want to watch Live every week?
Would it have to be a golfer that?
No, anybody
you want.
Yeah, anybody who would
watch a
be
show.
involved. Yeah.
I think if you made the Manning brothers commentators and I don't know for golf, I guess if you just had a lot of like other athletes and stuff trying to play against some of the good guys, it'd be like kind of like the match type deal. But John Daly. But I think
Go ahead.
you go.
Give me Howard Stern.
Did not see that one coming. I was thinking Adam Sandler for some reason because I'm just picturing like Happy Gilmore now. That's all I could think.
But could you imagine like a little person, small person, Muff? Give me the politically correct term.
Person with achondroplasia.
Thank you.
One of
Like joining Howard Stern for commentary one time, and then next thing you know, it's some person that he met on the street. Next thing you know, it's the local stripper.
them. He would just be like bringing his own guests.
Yeah, it'd be great.
That would be fun.
I want the crew from Pardon My Take
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good
as a group of people.
yeah, that's a good one.
'Cause
Like they could have like,
they would just get super high and then they would just talk.
yeah, I can see like PFT and Big Cat being like the two major announcers, and then having like Billy Football and Jake running around doing like interviews on the sidelines. You know what I mean? Like,
And then Hank just like
filming it all and coordinating.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Well, that was quick thoughts.
That was.
Oh, mighty Muffnac, we call out to you again for the NFC East predictions. Are you there, oh mighty Muffnac? Oh, mighty Muffnac, are you there, sir?
Yes. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, mighty Muffnac, we come to you with questions about the NFC East. Are you ready for our questions?
Why in the hell am I talking about the NFC least?
And we're just trying to give ample airtime to everyone.
Can't we talk about a real division?
You're not wrong, Muffnac, but we have to do what we got to do on this show.
Okay.
First question. Will Jerry Jones and the Cowboys ever see a Super Bowl again?
I call on the powers of Jerry Jones, and I see Paddy the Baddy squatting over him repeatedly. Jerry Jones will be no more, and the Cowboys will not win another Super Bowl.
Thank you, Mighty Muffnac.
So are you saying that you think Paddy the Baddy is going to teabag Jerry Jones to death?
If it happens, I'm not the one that made it happen.
Oh, Mighty Muffnac. My next question. Is Chase Young a bust for the Commanders?
Chase Young. I'm sure the Ohio State Homer has some thoughts on this.
I do, but I came to you, Muffnac.
But alas, Chase Young is not a bust and will not be a bust for the Commanders. He will see success and a great deal in the coming years.
All right. Almighty Muffnac, we go to Philadelphia now. How long will the Jalen Hurt experiment last in Philadelphia?
Shit city. Shitty fan base. Excrement through the city. Poop all over. Jalen Hurts out the door. Probably the back door.
Our last question, Almighty Muffnac. Settle the debate here on the show. Is it time to move on from Daniel Jones and with the New York Giants?
Why are we talking about Daniel Jones? The debate is if he's going to get tripped up by the 10-yard line again.
What do you see in Daniel Jones's future, sir?
To quote the great Mr. T, pain.
Thank you, Mighty Muffnac. Please send Muff back.
Okay.
Muff, you just missed a great Muffnac.
Oh, he really does not like the city of Philadelphia.
Not a big fan.
Can you blame him?
Good grief.
Apparently saw the colors I had on and heard somebody say that I was a fan. We all know that Muffnac may not be my favorite fan.
Right. Well, that was a great show, especially the end. If you made it this far and you'd like to question Muffnac, send us your questions for Muffnac, please.
This real question: does Muffnac deserve like his own clip on YouTube and Instagram?
Yes. Yes, we actually have a logo for you now. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but
For
be on the
Muffnac?
lookout for a new Muffnac logo.
Ooh, this would be fun. That wraps up another great episode of Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. Plus, Alex,
That's me.
tune in, subscribe, rate, review, listen, download, share,
Poke.
repost, poke.
Boink.
Because to do this will get us going in the right direction. Football season so close. Did we say how many days
Oh, we gotta tell them.
till NFL football? We have
44 days for the NFL.
Ooh,
Man,
34 days for the college football
That's almost-
kickoff.
like next time we talk, that'll be like
less than a
Less
month.
than a
not even
month.
a whole month.
It'll be like
Yeah.
4 weeks. It'll be like 4 weeks away.
And the NFL, I mean, really, we still have the preseason too, so something's gonna be happening a little sooner.
Telling you this week, we got to make it through the Bermuda Triangle of weeks.
We can
Jim,
do it.
How would you say preseason? Like you're constipated, but not as intense. What would you call it?
There's a zucchini up there.
Preseason.
Preseason?
All right. Tell everybody what you got about us. Sports stuff. W/Jim and Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. That's Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, tell a friend. Make a friend. Alex, you're not doing your thing. Be